Coach?
So this trip, they're two of the worst teams in the Pac-12, but they're still Pac-12 teams. So how do you kind of approach that?
Well, I think that's one of the most dangerous things is when they are lower ranking teams, just like we've been in that situation for a long time. So they are still good enough to beat people, and they'll surprise some people. So we don't overlook anybody. We're not at the point in the program where we can overlook people. But it's going to be a game with a lot of emotions, a trip with a lot of emotions. I lived there for 14 years, a lot of ties to Seattle with the Storm and different things, and Erie played there, Morgan coached there. So I think it's going to be an exciting game, but a game that, we definitely have to try to win.
How did your time in Washington shape who you are as a coach and as a person now?
Well, just my time in Washington in general, not even at University of Washington, that was like home for me. I love that city. I love the people. It is a strong basketball community, especially for women's basketball. So it's a great city. A lot of my dearest friends, my son was born there. Salva and I got married there. So there's so many emotional ties to Washington, but now this is my home. So that can be my second or third home. But it did shape who I am, to answer your question. Just playing professionally there, I never thought I'd, live in Seattle. But in 2002, I went there as a WNBA player, tried out as a free agent, made the team. So did a ton of community service there, started my nonprofit foundation there. So many ties to the city that are really sentimental for me. So it's just a special place with some of my dearest friends.
And in terms of the Huskies, how many of those players did you recruit? I know they've had a lot of change.
A lot of change. Amber Malgoza, obviously Erie when she was there. Hannah Johnson, she was my position kid. Deja Kelly, who's not, or Deja Struther, who's not, she's not on the team. She medically retired. But we know Jenna. She just started. Jenna Moser, she's one of our best players. She was a walk-on and like a practice player for us that earned a scholarship later. So great kid. So just ties to a lot of those kids. And I mean, even with the administration, love the administration, have the most, respect for Jen Cohen, their AD, and a lot of the academic advisors, really, really close relationships with. So I do love a lot about that school. It's a great school with great people.
Coach, how do you deflect some of the pressure off Erie going back home and maybe, in the back of her mind thinking, so she has something to prove?
Yeah, I don't think she has any pressure because she was there, she wasn't there a long time. It wasn't like she was there 3 years, and she was there with a different staff, so I don't think there are any sentimental ties, but there is, emotionally, she has friends there, and she did play there. I think so those things, and fond memories with the top team. When Erie was there, it was a Sweet 16 team. So I think those are just emotions as a young kid. But I don't think she really feels any pressure or any kind of stress for it. I think it's just another game, and Erie doesn't get rattled too easily. So I think for her, it's just going to be another game, but she'll be able to see some friends.
Now, when I spoke with you in Tempe, you were obviously unhappy. What big lesson did you drill into their heads this week?
That we can't play mediocre and win in this league, and I think we kind of know that, but we really don't. We all watch the game together, and being able to reflect the next day when there's not so many emotions and stuff, it's good to sit back and watch it just constructively. And even in the first 2 possessions, we made 6 defensive mistakes. So those things I have to figure out, they can't happen early, but we're such a young team, but there's no excuse for mistakes happening the first possession of a game. That tells me we're not locked in and we're not disciplined in those situations, so we have to get better. And, as a coach, I have to sit there and say, well, if they're not doing those things, it's my job to help them get better and figure things out. So we are going to work on a rebound, and we are going to work on being disciplined through initial things and starting off intense. So that's what I have to do. I don't think we're where we need to be. And the things we're working on now, they may not show up now, but they'll show up in March. So it's my job to get us better individually, get better at the little things, cut stuff out, make things shorter, get us more rest, because this is that time when you kind of hit the wall. It's the midway point. So, not happy with ASU, but also ASU is a better team right now. They're better. Their program's better right now. They're way advanced. I'm exactly in the situation that Charlie was when she first took over ASU. It was back when I started. Charlie had just started at ASU. She was building the program, and that's where we are now in our program. Year 3, there's a long way to go, and we have to get better. We have to get better inside. We have to get better, stronger inside. We have to get better at rebounding. We have to have a second, third, and fourth person consistently. And that's where we're at, and that's the reality. So, my job is to help them get better and be honest and not lie and sugarcoat stuff, but be honest about where we're at. And we had that conversation as a team. So, have a way to go.
What challenges does the Thursday, Saturday bring?
Just
It's short
different.
week and you have to travel.
Yeah, I think short week, but then they had another day off. So they basically had a day and a half off. Saturday was just some shooting. Sunday was off. So I think for them it was great to have Sunday off. They hadn't had Sunday off the whole year. So usually they have a Monday off. Monday is a school day, so it's not really an off day. So I think for them, they're going to be more rested, and I think it's exciting. It shakes things up, but I don't think young players are really that regimented in their routine where it really matters. I think they just go with the flow, and they're kids, so they're really resilient. So I don't even think it is a factor.
How's the increased playing time for Samaji really helped not only her, but as the team, knowing that she can come in and contribute with quality minutes?
Well, and I've been hard on Samaje because I do expect a lot from her. She needs to step up, and we have to help her learn how to step up and what that looks like and how she's important. She has to right now come in, bring some rebounding and defense around the basket. She can alter shots. She can get those tough rebounds, and I think she can score inside. So we have to bring that, extract that from her and give her the confidence. But we need Samaje. We know we need Kate, we know we need Dominique, Destiny, but Samaje off the bench, because she gives us so much size, we can play bigger with Samaje. So Samaje can play with Kate, she can play with Dominique, she can play with Destiny, and then we can go bigger. We can play with Destiny at the 3, then Sam Thomas, and then we have a better chance to get rebounds. Moving forward, she's very important, and I expect a lot from her. So you will see her play more minutes because we need her to, but she's got to produce in those minutes. So, we're working with her, and I've been working with her, and the post coaches are working with her, and we're watching film with her and doing things because we need to develop her more, and she's got to get some experience real fast.
What do you make of, where Washington is as a program now since you've left? Obviously, a lot has changed, a new coach, they've lost a ton of players.
I think it's just the process of rebuilding. It's the same thing. It's the same thing where we're at. I think the difference is just recruiting. You just have to recruit and build a program, and I think that when you lose players like Kelsey Plum and Chantel, your program is going to take a dive. I think Corey Close has done a really good job. She lost a tremendous amount at UCLA, but then she's also with a young team, and she's also won some big games. So I think that the process of rebuilding, it's not easy. It doesn't happen in a year or two. It takes time. So we're in year 3, and we have a long way to go. So I think Washington's just in the same situation. They just have to rebuild and get better, and I think it's just hard because expectations are really high there because, we had a really good program and team when we were there. So I think that, but you're not going to find a lot of Kelsey Plums, and you're going to find them once every 10 years. That's the reality, because if we had Kelsey Plum here, we're going to win 10 more games too. So I think, I think that Coach Neighbors, Coach McGuff did a tremendous job building that program, and it was very hard. It was very hard to recruit at Washington. But I think that it takes time, and just like there's challenges to recruit in Tucson too. It's similar things. So, the Pac-12 is hard. We're all recruiting the same kids, and we're all fighting for the same kids. So you have to sell and you have to have something that separates your program. So, I think Colorado's in the situation. We all kind of came in the same time. We're in the situation. Oregon's changed the program really fast, but it's still taken years, and even Scott, it took 6-7 years. So I think it takes time, and as we get better, so as Washington gets better, as Washington State, as Colorado, Utah, so does everybody else. So that's the hard thing. But I think Lynn is a year ahead of us. Lynn is in her 4th year, and she's done a tremendous job. Her team is playing at a really high level, and I think she surprised a lot of people, and they play really good basketball. So, she's a year ahead in the process, but the process isn't easy if you do it the right way.
So on the other side of the coin, Washington State, what's the biggest challenge facing them?
It's a really hard place to play. It's just, it's cold there. So for us, anywhere is cold. Wherever we go, it's freezing. So we go to California, we're like, we're Arizonans. So I think the challenge is it's a tough trip. It's a long trip. It's different. It's a different environment, and it's just hard to play there. The Washingtons, it's been hard since I was in college. So that trip was always hard. When they played in a different gym, Washington State was always a hard trip, and so was Oregon. It's a lot harder now because they're just so good. But Washington is just different. You have to get on a small plane. It's just, the airport's the size of the room. It's just different. And I think that it's just hard playing on the road here. So it's not even that Washington State. It is hard playing in Colorado. It's hard playing in Utah. For us, it's just a different climate. It's different. For us, travel is really long, too. So, a lot of us in the Pac-12, the head coaches, we talk a lot about the travel. Well, if you're living in LA, even Phoenix or a major city, travel is not a factor. For us, Oregon State, travel is tough. I mean, it's for Washington State, it's really tough, I'm sure too, small airport. So it's just tough. I mean, we rarely have a nonstop flight. So our travel days feel like we're going to Europe. I mean, it's really long travel days, and we don't have the luxury of chartering every flight, which is the reality. But it's just, I mean, we're leaving there at 3 o'clock, we're getting home at 11. So it's just it's a long day. So luckily, going from Seattle to Pullman, there's a direct flight, but if weather often delays the flights and stuff like that. So it's just a difficult trip, but it's a trip where it's going to tell us a lot about where we're at. It's a trip that we need to get some wins. So ideally, obviously, you're going for a sweep, but it's not going to be easy. But if we are taking steps in this program, that's a trip where we need to get some wins.
So this trip, do you go to Phoenix and then fly out of Phoenix?
I think we fly straight to Seattle. That's why we're practicing early, and that's rare. So that's like once a day. But if we would have been able to take a noon flight, we wouldn't be able to do it, and usually we can't. So normally, a typical trip for us is through Vegas, through LA. We probably have 3 nonstop flights or 4 the whole year. So, like on the way back, I think we go through Seattle again. So Pullman, Seattle for 3 hours, and then come back. So.
Do you find that more taxing on like younger players who haven't really done that?
I find it taxing on everybody. I think it's extremely difficult. I don't have the solution because I can't write a check for $1 million for charter flights. And I understand, like as a program, you have to do it then for all the sports. So I understand the challenges, and it's not easy. I mean, when I see the prices of charters, I'm like, whoa. But it's very difficult. It's very difficult on the kids because we play on Sunday. We rarely get home before 11 o'clock. So then, they're unwinding, getting into their apartments at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and they have 8 o'clock study halls and classes. So, and they have to go. I mean, we check classes, and that's just kind of what you do, but it's not easy. So I think that overall, I mean, it'd be great if, there was a solution later for all the sports to charter, but it's just that financially it's a lot of money that schools can't afford, and I get that.
Great.
So if you know anybody that owns a charter company and has a couple $1 million to spare, like, we just would love it. They can have their name on the plane and everything. So call up your friends, man. Huh?
Harry?
Yeah, so Ari was really surprised. I don't know if you guys saw it came out, obviously did, but surprised she wasn't on the top, the Wooden Award final 20, I guess, watch list. I was surprised. Ari is a really good player. I think she's an elite player in the country. She's second. She goes from like second to fourth leading scorer. I think right now she's second in the country. She's someone who's not only great offensively, but she's great defensively. But I think one of the reasons why she's probably not on that list, not because of her skill and anything like that, it's probably because of where the program is. I think if we were a top 20 team, I think that if we were top 3 or 4 in the Pac-12, I think she would be on that list. So, but Ari's she's an underdog, blue-collar worker fighter, so I think this is going to motivate her a lot more, which it should. But, I was just disappointed to see that and a little bit surprised. But for us, she is, the best, and, she's great to play with and just great all around for this program. And she'll continue to be a dominant player and one of the best guards in the best conference in the country, the Pac-12.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Good,
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Hola.
Coach Barnes was saying how a lot of times when you guys go on these road trips, it feels like you're traveling to Europe because of how long the trips are. I mean, you from Spain, do you agree with that, or?
I mean, kinda. I mean, the flight is way longer, but yeah, it's definitely hard traveling, especially when we play Friday, Sunday. We have to be in the road for 5 days. That's why playing on the road is hard, and we have to stay focused and execute the game plan and stay together.
What happens during the layover when you have a 3-hour layover in Vegas or LA? I mean, where's your mindset, or where's the other players' minds?
I mean, we just sitting there. We're usually doing homework or watching a movie or something like that. So that's it.
What did you take away from the ASU game?
I would say our offense, it wasn't as great as usually. we need to execute better our plays and move the ball and play all together.
Did you guys, when you watched film of that ASU game, did you guys pick out the main reasons why nobody had more than 3 points other than Ari?
I mean, Ari is a player who can score like easily, and usually we rely on her to, at the end of the shot clock, we pass her the ball so she can like make a play or something when we don't know what to do. But definitely we need to work like other plays to get other people's shots, and that's what we have been doing this week. So hopefully we will do that in the next games.
Washington and Washington State are like low in the Pac-12 standings, but Coach Barnes was saying that's kind of dangerous because there is a possibility that you could overlook them, I guess. So what do you have to do to avoid that?
I think we have to stay focused, execute the game plan, and start the game hard. And like Coach said, like punch them first in the face so they don't get confidence and execute the game plan.
Is it kind of interesting, based on how the last 2 years went, that you're going into a homestand or you're going on a road trip maybe as the team that's like supposed to win the games or seen as maybe the favorite to win?
Yeah,
Different than the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's different, but you can't take anybody like an easy rival because they can beat them as we can beat them. So we have to stay focused.
You guys have anything else for Lou?
What was it? Ari didn't make the
Win the award final.
Yeah. What does she mean to this team? What's I guess impressed you about the way that she's?
I mean, she's a great player, and I'm so happy to play with her, and I'm so glad she made that award. I didn't know, but
No, she didn't.
she didn't. Oh, I mean, she's still one of the best players in the country, and we are so happy to have her here. So.
Is that surprising that she didn't, though, based on what all she's done this year?
I mean, yeah, because she's a great player.
Thanks, Lou.